Hey guys, it's Danny here with another episode of my investing. So basically, last time Zim was tanking, so I started buying quite a lot of Zim, and then the next day I started tanking even more. Basically, Joe Biden came out and declared the war in Israel was about to reach an end. Um, which would mean the container ships probably could start going through the Gulf or the that strait again or whatever it's called. So obviously that was not factual because a day later, Egypt ended the peace talks because of no progress. So it was sort of either a misunderstanding or an over optimism. But the peace talks were actually canceled, so there was actually no peace talks ongoing whatsoever. Uh, so Zim did rebound. Quite a lot of price movement on Zim. Uh, what we did here, and this is going to be the majority of this explaining what we did. So obviously, our cost basis started to get drugged down quite a lot. By buying all these shares, we ended up, you know, below the 18 mark. And then what we started doing is selling covered calls. So basically, I'm picking up this income. Like you see on this covered call, I picked up $157. This one is $481, and this one was how much? 162. So basically, elected to sell those options. So obviously, why would people be buying these options? Well, they're basically buying the right to buy my stocks at said date. Um, and most of these are about 30, or 28 to 30 days out or something like that. At that price. So like, if Zim essentially goes through the roof, like during COVID at one point, for example, um, Zim hit, um, let's go here. Let's go maybe 5 year. Zim hit $84. Maybe I heard rumors at 100. I don't know. I show 84. But Zim hit, $84. I mean, I don't think anyone really thinks that Zim is going to hit $84, but I've heard more than a few people on, you know, forums think it's going to hit 40. Now, I don't think it's going to hit 40, at least not yet. I mean, I guess the question to me, for that sort of potential, I mean, just my gut is that um, this index trend. I mean, I think we're going to get a really strong dividend, but are we going to get a blow off the chart dividend? Maybe not. But the thing is, if in future quarters it keeps going up, if there's any more disruption, or if things are just continuing to fall behind, and it may be, I don't know, there may be shippers holding off because they're hoping that things will get better, and then if it doesn't, that could be even more of a bottleneck. I don't know. But hypothetically, if it keeps pushing up, goes into the 5,000 range or something like that, yeah, I think we could see Zim blow. You know, I don't know. I have no idea if it could blow to 40, but go up like that. But maybe. I mean, if 5,000, maybe, I don't know. But I think if index gets to 5,000 or something like that, we're gonna see. I think it's fairly reasonable of a guess. Not a financial expert, or it's not financial advice, but I think there's, my personal opinion is it goes 40. There's a real chance of that. Yeah, as you see the disclaimer here, that you and you alone are responsible for your decisions. But it's something I'm watching. If Zim goes, like that, and obviously, like, I think it's going to be a strong order, a strong dividend. So I with these calls, I would prefer that they don't sell. I mean, the one I sold at 18, it was one of the first ones I got. It was fishtailing down to 17, and I just wanted extra cash to buy more shares to bring my cost basis way down. And and but obviously the one that's a 18 strike. But even still, 18 strike, because the 18 strike is essentially is below my cost basis. So I even pick up a tiny bit of a premium there. But the 18 strike, what did the 18 strike? I got $157 off that. Actually, almost $158. The big ones I got four um at the 1850 strike. And then there's one at the 19, I think. I'm also not entirely sure. Maybe I got that right. I'm kind of going off the slideshow, and it went a little fast. I also did a similar thing in my another brokerage I have. I use this one more for margin and things. I have a little bit of margin here, not aggressive by any means, just tiny bit, just because the income was so good. I mean, this income in 1 week, it would be like picking up a 6.5% dividend for the whole year. So in 1 week, I picked up 6.5%. Now, this is a stock with very strong feeling. Like some people think like this thing's going to $6. Some people think this thing's going to 40. So that feeling, it helps those calls. And I don't mind if I get sold out at 18, 1850, and 19. If the last one is 19, I think it is. But I mean, because that even still represents some upside. I mean, the 18 one was just to sell it and drag my price down as I was. That was the first one I did. And the 1850, even still the 1850, I think off my basis at 400 shares, that'd be $200 premium. And then the last one's a 19 strike. That would be off those 100 shares would be $100 extra. So I get basically more than 300, just tiny bit more than 300 because the other one's a few pennies. But yeah, I mean, you pick up that's almost $800 with the income actually. No, yeah, no, that's like 600, a little bit less than 800. 790 or something. You pick up $790 income, which is like I basically got I think I said 6.5, or something like that. It was something like that, um, approximately. It's like selling those calls like a 6.5% dividend for the year. Um, so ideal scenario is if they sell, it doesn't go like super over the those strikes, so I can buy again and then resell. Or another ideal scenario, maybe even more ideal, is that it stays like 18 flat-ish, so none of them sell, or maybe even it goes like 1825 and just that one sells, because that one was kind of just to drag down the basis. I wouldn't mind that at all. And then the other ones expire, and then I can, and that could even like take all the margin off, and I could see if I want to, but um, you know, I mean, if it goes, if people get real bullish on it and think, and it goes like, 20, 25, 30, I mean, I don't, I, I would be surprised if it went to 30. I don't know, but if it went to 25, I wouldn't be wildly surprised. But it's risky, and so I thought, hey, this is a great opportunity. I'm just gonna take some solid cash, and use it to buy more shares, because that's, you pick up, 750, seven, I think it's more like $780. That's quite a lot of shares. So, um, and then, hey, if it goes to 25, you know, to be honest, to be real, I kind of a panicky person. And like if it went to like 22, I'd probably sell off anyway. So I'm not the I miss a lot of upside just because I like to lock in profits. So maybe selling calls is smarter for me. Because then I just have to sit, and hope. But I mean, the good thing, obviously, in calls, the big thing you do want to be bullish on the stock, because the bad scenario obviously is that your downside is not protected. Like, if Zim goes to 13 or lower, then you've got, you're stuck with it unless you sell, and then they sell at a big loss. And if you want to sell calls again, then you're putting it at any profitable price, you're putting those calls at a range where if it goes off, you'll take huge losses on the stocks. But you know, in this scenario, with the backdrop I'm seeing with shipping, my gut of the situation going on, and that the situation is not, it is not, I don't want to be like pro you know it ongoing, but I just being a realist, I don't see from what I see that anything is changing quickly. And then I don't believe me buying stock makes a material difference. I don't think anyone buying a stock actually makes any material difference in what's going on. And so I don't see a quick resolution. And thus I see the trend for Zim being bullish. One, you take the big dividend, and then two, Zim has the big weakness of Zim is its balance sheet. But if and also they were kind of caught in a bad position of they had all these expensive rentals and they're waiting for their new build ships to come in. But the thing is that this is covering kind of both of that. They're successfully getting out of all those expensive rentals and getting their new build ships. Plus, um, you know, their balance sheet, which is a little bit shaky. Obviously, they're only paying out over the course of the year 50% of the dividend. So the other 50%, almost certainly, I'm going to assume that they're going to be, either paying down their balance sheet or using it to acquire something that increases their earnings, which dilutes the debt compared to their earnings. If they're using it to reinvest it in the business, even if they're not paying down the debt, if they're successfully reinvesting that money in the business, growing their earnings, it makes the debt a smaller compared to their earnings. So I you know basically this really helps because you're getting heavy dividend, plus it's really helping the company because their shaky balance sheet is definitely getting improved upon. The better their earnings are. So I'm not like uber bull. I don't think like it's gonna go like 30 now. Although I wouldn't be shocked if it went 20, 25. 22 is very reasonable in my guesstimate. Because it was already at 22 and then it kind of went down for just based on a lot of news, and like analysts downgrading it. Although it's funny because a lot of other analysts upgraded it, but it didn't really get anything off of those upgrades. It just like that one analyst downgrade, like everyone was sold off, and then all these other analysts upgraded. I think more upgraded than downgraded, but no one paid attention to all the upgrades. It's kind of weird, but it feels like it's reacting more to the negative news when that happens than all the positive news. When that happens, and like if there's like negative news, it loses $2. And then if there's positive news, it only gains $100 back. I mean, um, I should have said percent, or I don't know, basis points, whatever. The point is those numbers are not. I don't know what I'm talking about the numbers, but like, yeah, the stock will go down. Like, if there's bad news, the stock will go down like $2. But if there's good news, it'll only go up $1, which is, kind of, you know, um, goofy. A scenario where Biden says, peace talks are about to, you know, materialize in a deal, and then the actual reality is that peace talks were completely canceled because the deal was so far apart. Actually, the good news, for the shipping rates, it far exceeds the bad news, but the downside was twice what the pullback was. So it's kind of irrational, a lot of the movements in these prices. But I guess that does make a wild ride. This thing is moving $1 a day either way a lot of the time. So you got to have a lot of stomach for it. It's very risky. But on the other hand, I have quite a lot invested. This is not like if I lost all of this, I would not. It would not bother me. Well, it would bother me. I would be depressed, but it's not like if I lost all of this, it wouldn't make any real difference for my life. It would probably make a difference for my ego and my psyche. My ego and my psyche would be badly damaged. But being all in like on this, because this is like a very small part of all of my. But I'm building this because backdrop of this is I think that the Fed is going to have to start cutting rates. Um, just my guess, for what it is, Fed is going to have to start cutting rates. That means that, this is benchmarked the margin. So, if margin goes down, it's like almost at 8% on this. But if it goes down like, 4%, you know, year, think of all the nice, safe stocks that even can grow and they have more dividend than that. Oh, and then you got some good barn burners, really high dividend. There's so much above it then, if you think there's like very little chance of decaying quickly, um, it just I feels like it just opens things up. So I'm trying to build a base. Now, it's kind of funny how, you know, I was trying to build this base and then the scenario played out in Zim, and it's like one of these things that I wanted to go in on if it did this, and it did it like on the third episode. Um, um, and I also don't know how many these I'm gonna do. It just depends on a lot of things, how I feel, if I'm excited about it, and also like this. I don't want to beat a dead horse. I'm basically at this point locked in because this is like a commitment that I did. I have to own those Zim stocks through those dates till they expire or get called, you know? So, and I'm not going to try to do any fancy stuff like rolling calls or cancel. I don't know. There's some stuff I could do. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to just take it to the term. They get called, they don't get called, you know? And so there's just no maneuvers here for me. I mean, yes, I'm going to also, I'm going to put a little bit of money in tomorrow, but I have a little bit of leverage, so I'm probably not even going to do anything with it. I'm probably just going to just let it reduce the leverage by a little bit. I mean, the leverage is acceptable, but I may as well just reduce the leverage a little bit with that. So, and the next week could be the same. Just put a little bit in. I'm thinking $300 a week just to be $15,000 a year. Because I don't want to build too fast. I mean, I could conceivably build at $1,000 a week. eh, uh, you know, I think I could sustain that just from one account that I want to get rid of, not get rid of, but it's a cash account, and I suspect that I've milked the good money out of it, and pretty soon that account's gonna get not hurt, but it's gonna be less beneficial pretty soon. Um, so that's the one I'm moving it from as a cash account. It's really good, 5%, but um, you know, so I could move 1,000 a week for more than a year, but I'm being slow. Also, I don't know, I'm not one of those to jump. I think people like to jump what the Fed will do. I don't. I think that the Fed always moves slower than people think they will. And you could criticize that, say it's good, bad, or other, but that's just the nature of the Fed. People think the Fed will do things often months and years before they do. And just the reality is the Fed moves much slower than um, than people think the Fed will. So, a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, definitely September." And I would never say, "Oh yes, definitely September," because the Fed is just so much slower than the people predict. The experts predict. The experts always are predicting the Fed will move faster than the Fed moves. So I never trust any predictions whatsoever. I mean, do I think that eventually the Fed will have to move? Most likely. So I don't doubt that. I mean, I think everyone knows it. The Fed knows it. The Fed is even starting to change their rhetoric a little bit. Um, so but even still, I don't think that, I would never say the Fed will move in September. And even if they do, what's it going to be like 25 basis down? I think if they move in September, it's going to be tiny, and not really going to make a whole lot of difference. But the point is that once they start moving, eventually they're gonna want to normalize it somewhat to, and then this sort of thing, and obviously like I want to be ahead of the game, and also if I'm investing well here, I'm definitely earning a lot more than 5%, like this. I mean, obviously right here I'm at like an 11% range, but if all those calls expire and my stock stays around where the price was, it's gonna pump it, I don't know if it'll pump it to 20%, but it's going to pump it quite a lot. And then if I'm still holding the stocks and it's around the same price, I can resell the calls again. Um, you do that a couple times, that's money, very risky. Not for the faint of heart. But kind of got some fire in my veins right now, just a lot of had some success, and then just a lot of things, going on in my life is kind of giving me a little fire. I mean, good, bad, and otherwise. Some has been good, some has been kind of really bad. I mean, not but just stuff that you wish was different. And but even still, like I try to take, when things aren't going well, I try to take that and like, okay, what can I do with this? I mean, at least, you take the negativity and you turn it into some sort of energy to create something, and that's what I'm kind of doing right now. Is like some of the negativity in my life, I try to take it and just funnel it and build something great, um, and use that as motivation to win, um, just so yeah, but yeah, I don't know, if I have videos for a number of weeks. 'Cause like I'm saying, I'm kind of locked in here. You see, 16th and 24th of August, so there may not really be anything to report on, and I don't want to, beat a dead horse and whatnot. But I think we'll definitely continue with this, and then my Entropia series will continue with, although we'll see for that. Well, we'll see for both. I intend to continue with them, but depending on things, I may not. But uh, in general, definitely, I mostly intend to, and I'll, yeah, continue with them. Um, but yeah. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. If you did watch, I don't really get anything from this other than just like trying to build my channel a little bit. So if you just leave a comment, maybe like my channel, maybe like the video, that just helps raise visibility for what I'm doing. And yeah, this is all just what I'm sharing, my passion, and maybe you get something from it, maybe you don't. But you're making your own decisions, obviously. So it's up to you what you do and don't do. So it's not on you what you do and don't do. But yeah, I just hope you enjoy this for what it is, and my love for investing and passion. Hopefully, and hopefully it gets a little less like one stocky. It will get one stocky and more dividendy. Although it's going to have a pretty big dividend, but this is kind of a wild scenario. But I just felt like this is a moment. If I can do this right, do this a few times, it can really pump my results. And so I just wanted to share, and I want to share. It gives me sort of fire to do this, that I want to win and I want to show me winning, and maybe that's a little bit of ego. I don't know, but it's not even about the ego. It's just I want to win for me. And if in 3 years I just want to like quit my job and just like chill on my couch, or not. But I mean, the thing is that I want to be in that spot. I obviously won't be like, if I do that, I probably have a pretty frugal lifestyle, but I want to be in a position if in 3 years I want to quit my job and just sit on my couch and collect the dividends. I can. I mean, I probably wouldn't feel like super comfortable with that. I'd probably want to do something else. But I mean, thing is like, maybe at that point, if I'm feel real good, maybe I'll just go pick up 10 hour a week, something I felt really easy and nice and convenient. I don't know. Who knows? And maybe I just take a couple years off. I don't know, and just you know enjoy it for a couple years before I get back in the rat race. Who knows? I mean, I never know because I'm obviously a bachelor. Being a bachelor, I can, if I've got good dividends that is enough to live frugally on and just live off the dividends, and I'm okay living frugally. That's one thing. But do you get married, then there's a lot of financial commitments, and then that would change my outlook. I mean, but it's everything is a pro and a con, but at this point, I'm kind of a single, bachelor guy, and not that I don't hope to get married and have a family, but it's kind of a little bit of a a little bit hard to find women these days. Very a lot more men looking than women, unfortunately. So it is what it is, and I'm happy with what I'm doing. It's just yeah, but obviously there's pros and cons of every decision. So we'll see what happens and where it goes. So until next time, peeps. All right, take care.